My quest in Delhi hasn't finished, and today I'm going to spend some more time with leading food historian Dr. Ashish Chopra. Now, Delhi is the capital of India, and it's been known as the capital of many empires since 300 BC. The various dynasties have seen it rise up and be destroyed many times, and Dr. Chopra is going to tell me more about the history of this place, and together we're going to cook another forgotten dish. So let's go and join him. Dr. Chopra, it's an absolute honour to meet you.
Pleasure.
I think you're the perfect person to start me on my quest to be here.
I don't know about that, but whatever little knowledge that I have, because I'm still seeking in this country, there's so much of diversity, but yes, whatever I know, I would love to share it.
Thank you. So India is such a huge country, and I know there's a massive diversity in culture from north, south, east and west.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me about the diversity in food?
Every culture has food as an integral part. Every region in this country, in a population of 1.4 billion people, and also different religions which are flourishing in this country. Yeah. In fact, all religions flourish in this country. This is probably the only country in the world which has such amount of diversity. Let me share a little secret with you.
Okay.
In one of the encyclopedias I was going through when I was documenting just curries in this country, there are over 150,000 documented curry recipes in this country. North India, you go from place to place, region to region, the food habits keep changing. You go to South, food habits keep changing. The food in Kerala, within Kerala alone, the food habits keep changing. There's a community called the Mopla community. We have Syrian Christians, we have Brahmins. Each one of them have a traditional cuisine that is attached to it. You go to Northeast, in a state like Nagaland alone, there are 26 tribes. Each tribe has its own identity.
I know that India was invaded by a number of Central Asian countries, as well as the British and the Portuguese.
And not to forget the Dutch and the French.
Okay, so everyone. Do you think that these cultures have left behind an influence on food here?
All right. Now, let me start with your country of origin, English. I'll tell you, for example, there's a fantastic version of shepherd's pie in India.
Really?
You know?
I wouldn't have guessed that.
When the British came in, they married local people,
yeah.
Right? So it was a new community that developed called the Anglo-Indians.
Okay.
There was a very strong influence in the cuisine of the Anglo-Indians. And when the Anglo-Indians came in, food of the English was blended with the local cuisine and new recipes came up. When the Muslims came in, they brought in, they came from Iran, Mongolia, places like these, and food traveled from Afghanistan, reached North India, spread all over when the Mughals also came in. So there was a great renaissance movement, as I would say, in terms of food. And it just kept on originating, it kept on blending, and that's how food came up. Yes, there's too much of diversity here.
How have all these recipes been passed down? Are there written accounts of them, or?
Loads of them, loads of them. In fact, the best part is that since India was divided into small states, and each state had its own Maharajas, obviously they wanted their own independent identity, and for them food was an integral part. All this royalty, I must give credit for one thing, which is I think extremely important, is they are the real conservationists in terms of our rich culture and culinary history. Had it not been for them, I don't think that could have been documented. For that I'm very, very clear about. I have this little handwritten book which has been passed in 3 generations. This handwritten book was gifted to me by one of the royal families of Rajasthan, and it was a small state called Dighi state. Now that state, royalty from their generations documented everything, and this is the last of the documentation that they have. But it has recipes, it has almost over 500 recipes of all sorts, right from brewing traditional alcohol to the different game meats when they would go on hunts, how to cook. And it's documented so beautifully that I would love to share this with you. Let me just share this with you. Now look, he's catalogued it so nicely, right? And Everything is catalogued, and these are the recipes. The weights and measures in ancient days used to be not grams, but the weights of measures would be based on, the old coins that we had, and that's how they would weigh. So they would say 1 anna, and anna was a currency, and it's a coin. So the weight of that coin would be measured,
with the food.
Would balance out with the food. So these are some of the recipes that have been handwritten. See how neatly they have been written.
It's perfectly written.
And these are the things that these are dead now, right? If we don't publish these or share it with people, they will just be left with the family.
That's true.
Or someone like me who has, been able to lucky enough to get hold of something like this. So now my next quest is to ensure that these books these are properly documented and they're published in the form of book, and I can share this with the rest of the world.
That's fantastic. And what about Delhi in particular? What makes Delhi cuisine so special?
Strangely, there's nothing known as a Delhi cuisine. Now it's become like a Delhi cuisine because Delhi was a small village once upon a time. The Mughals came in, they made their capital. The other communities came in, they started living here because it was converted into a huge city, right? And obviously, with every city, jobs are created, construction happens, so it started thriving. So Delhi is more of a migrant city than anything, but cuisine of different kinds sort of flourished here. So it created a fusion of different kind of community cooking, and that's how probably that gave rise and precedence to something called the Delhi cuisine,
So you're able to get a huge range of food in Delhi?
Absolutely. And I'm making a traditional dish for you, which I learned from one of the old families in one of my aunts, who learned it from a great-grandmother. And it's a lamb curry, which is richly cooked with herbs and spices, and it's full of dry fruits and dates. Right. So that's one of the dishes which you watch out for shortly.
Dr. Chopra, thank you very much for showing me the book and for telling me all this information. I'm cooking with you today, so thank you.
Pleasure. Are you liking it? Are you enjoying your show?
Of course I am.
Well, I'm glad.
It's a treat. I like trying Indian food back home, and so it's good to try something authentic.
I guarantee you'll end up putting out a couple of kilos before you go back home.
People keep telling me that.
I know that for a fact.
Dr. Chopra was telling me that there's so much variation in Indian food. You can see differences from north to south, east to west, all sorts. He was also saying that there are a lot of forgotten cuisines here. Some of the reasons for these include the expense of the ingredients, or perhaps just how much time it takes to cook. He said that together we're going to cook another forgotten dish, and this one's called Dingri Gucci Pulao. I can't wait to get started.
We now proceed to the rice.
Excellent.
What I have done is, I've soaked this little bit of rice in saffron.
Can I smell it?
Yes. Look.
Yeah, it's really fragrant.
Right. Now this is one thing that will go into the pulao that I'm going to make. And then this will go, raisins. You see? Because it's just to give it a little sweet taste to the entire thing.
I saw those at the spice market. They're all different kinds of
Yes,
spices.
absolutely, and different sizes.
Yeah.
And then I will also put in black cumin seeds.
I usually just use ground cumin.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of oil, put some black cumin seeds, and sort of sauté them a little. Then I'm going to add this, and just let it cook for about 2 or 3 minutes. Once this is done, you've seen these mushrooms, they're already dried, but these are just for display. I'm not going to be using these dried mushrooms.
What have you done instead?
I've put them in water and soaked them for a couple of hours, and this is how they look at. This is how your truffle looks like. See?
And what's the benefit of soaking them?
it becomes soft, because otherwise it's hard, and it also has a lot of dust. It gets dusty. So this is how it's going to look like, if you see.
They look like little aliens.
Absolutely, right? So this is one. Then what I've done is, I've also cut those mushrooms into small and shredded them into pieces.
So that looks more like a mushroom that I might recognize.
This sort of also has a very nice chickeny taste to it, because it sort of tastes like meat, but it isn't. So this, along with this, will be put right in the end. This, along with the raisins, and this thing is actually going to be fried and cooked.
What are we frying it in? Are we using
normal oil? But always they say they use purified butter. Heavy, but it's manageable. Yes. So shall we start?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll get rolling.
So the cumin seeds first?
Yeah, a little bit of cumin seeds first.
Why would you use cumin seeds rather than ground cumin?
Because cumin seeds, they have to stand out, because there's also a little bit of flavor. At the same time with the flavor, there's presentation also. So this plays a very important role. Now I'll be putting all this and cooking all this together in this. Can I have the salt, please? Thank you. Salt, as always, according to taste. Thank you. We let this cook for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Are you liking it? Are you enjoying your show?
Of course I am.
Well, I'm glad.
It's a treat. I like trying Indian food back home, and so it's good to try something authentic.
I guarantee you'll end up putting out a couple of kilos before you go back home.
People keep telling me that.
I know that for a fact. My girlfriend, she was 48 kilos when she came into my life. 7 years of my relationship with her, when she went away, she went back 80 kilos. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little water.
What does the water do?
The water will, I'll boil it in water, because it needs to be mixed with rice. So that you can get the little mushroom flavor. Alex, now that I've started making this, I'm going to add my rice to it. Okay. This rice has been soaked already in water, so it won't take too long to cook.
How long did you soak it for?
I soaked it for about 2 hours. And it'll take, just because I'm cooking this in a rice cooker so that it can be done, I'm going to cook this, it'll be ready in about 15 minutes at the most. That's it. It won't take too long.
Does the shape of the pan make a difference? Because you're using a round one.
Yes, it does. Just taste the salt. Can I have some salt, please? Yes. Thank you.
Adding the saffron rice.
Yes, I'm mixing saffron now. You're my guinea pig today. Let's see. what your call is, and we'll see how you critique my food.
They look a little bit like tentacles.
They do. They look like oyster tentacles, that's true. But you know what they are in reality.
I do.
Now this is ready, so I'm just going to put it in the rice cooker. Yes, I remember you said you were quite a curry person back in England.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think I've tried anything this good before.
Well, that's a compliment.
Okay, so with quite a bit of time and a little bit of flirting, then our dishes are finally ready.
Yes.
It took quite a long time, but I guess with ingredients this expensive, you do want to take your time.
Absolutely, because otherwise it's pointless savoring the flavor. This is something like it's a passion that goes into it. So everything has to be done very delectably, very delightfully, and a lot of emotions and passions go into cooking a cuisine like this. Now that it's ready, I think we should enjoy.
Excellent.
Right? And you are my guinea pig for today. However, I must also tell you that there is an Indian wine which complements the lamb curry.
Red, of course.
It's a red Cabernet, and I'm sure you would like that. But before that, may I serve you some rice, please?
I'd love you to. Thank you very much.
Here, give you a little more.
It smells so good.
Some Indian red wine to go with your meal?
I think it's probably my first Indian wine.
I'm sure you'll like it. It's got a nice, dryish, but a little fruity aftertaste. But it goes excellently with Indian grills, Indian barbecues.
It smells a bit like sherry.
It is, sort of. But it's not all that sweet either. Well,
cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to India.
Thank you.
And your quest for the great Indian food.
Cheers.
Cheers. Do you like it?
That's some good curry. I really thought the cashew nuts would be the dominant flavour, but I think all of the flavours are really coming through.
Because it's a mixture of all of them put together. So each flavour complements the other one. So it creates a very homogeneous balance. Yes, I remember you said you were quite a curry person back in England.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think I've tried anything this good before.
Oh, that's a compliment.
The lamb's so tender.
That's the way it's meant to be, actually.
So could you have this with bread as well?
It'll go very well with bread. Actually, with pita bread, it's a great combination. It'll go very well with pita bread.
Probably go well with anything, actually.
Yes. Have fun. You've done it for the day.
It's been so nice to meet Dr. Ashish Chopra and learn how to cook this amazing food. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Let's come again.
I will do.
My house is always open to friends.
It's been a great start to my journey.
I'm glad and wish you all the best, and I hope that your quest for your gastronomical delights continue, and by the time you go back, you end up being our gastronomical ambassador.
And a lot bigger, probably.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Delhi was a wonderful place to start my journey. There's so much history here, and especially food history. And Dr. Chopra is definitely an encyclopedic knowledge of all of this. Well, you know, India is such a vast country, and there's so much more to explore. So join me next time on Quest on Travel XP.